You work closely with Devin Haney. The news this week was that Ryan Garcia's B sample tested positive for ostarine, just like the A sample. No surprise there. I mean, it's the same collection. This was expected to be the result. Ryan has come out with some kind of investigation that his team has done involving hair samples. Either way, this is now headed to the New York State Athletic Commission for adjudication. Now that we have, a pretty good amount of evidence about what was in Ryan's system, how much, etc., what do you think the next step should be?
Well, I mean, that'll be down to the New York State Athletic Commission. I'm glad it's a fight that took place there because I think they're extremely thorough. I mean, I know Devin's pushing for a disqualification. Obviously, the fight's a no contest. I mean, you even the weight gives it that argument. But certainly with, one of the problems that we have in boxing with testing is the lag of results. These things take between 2 and 4 weeks to be reported back. So a lot of people will say, what's the point in testing during that period before the fight? I really disagree with that because I think you'd still want to know, you'd want to know what was in someone's system. I think the thing is with Ryan, the New York State Athletic Commission will definitely call it a no contest because guilty or not guilty of deliberately ingesting ostarine, it was 100% in his body, right? We know that for fact. So the fight can't really stand in that respect. But this is something much more serious and deeper than that. This is Ryan's career and banned. I mean, he's going to get banned, and this is the problem with strict liability. Same problem Conor Benn's got. It was acknowledged by the WBC that contamination is absolutely the likely source. But unfortunately, it's like you still had it in your system. And I've said to Ryan, I said to him last week in Riyadh, I hope you're innocent, right? And I even give you the benefit of the doubt, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it was in your system when you fought Devin Haney. And if I'm Ryan, I'm getting off social media. I mean, I can't believe someone close to him right now is not getting hold of him, getting him off social media, getting him away to chill out and just get his mind right and get ready to deal with his situation. Because every day, every tweet just gets worse and worse and worse. And, he said before the fight that, that was all a joke, the build-up, that was just me being, like playing with people's minds. Well, he's carried on the exact same behaviour. And what's this, 5 weeks since the fight now? Like anybody that knows Ryan Garcia, I don't even know him. And I'm telling you, he's acting uncharacteristically. What is the reason for that? Someone needs to protect him and someone needs to help him. Where are these people around him? He's just off on a jet going from country to country, tweeting like absolute nonsense. I don't understand it. It's almost like, he's fault now. We got our job done. We got him in the ring. Oh, and he won as well. Sensational. Off he goes. Let him do his own thing. I don't get it.
Why has Devin become kind of a villain in all this? Because if you look at the replies,
like it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I mean, look, we've been through with Conor Benn. I mean, Conor Benn had substantially less in his system than Ryan Garcia did, right? And he's like the greatest villain of all time. This guy's apparently just unlucky, and Devin Haney's a sore loser. I mean, look, the weight thing's the weight thing. Like you accepted the fight, right? Yeah. So you knew what you were signing up for. I think they should have still got him to weigh in on the day of the fight, but whatever. But now you're thinking, I've got beat to a guy that, was 3.5 pounds over. God knows what he weighed on the night. Now I got beat to a guy who had performance-enhancing drugs in his system. I mean, again, I hope Ryan Garcia is innocent. If he's not innocent and he's done that deliberately and with the beating at times that Devin Haney took in that fight, that's a really uncomfortable thing to think about, looking back on the fight. So God knows what Devin's feeling. But, the world's a strange place. And I worry about Devin as well. I worry about all fighters. Tyson Fury, you don't understand when you haven't suffered defeat and I've seen it with AJ and all of a sudden you get beat, the world turns against you, you're reading the replies on social media, like you've given your whole life to this sport. You can pretend that it doesn't affect you. There's no way it can't. So, I hope they can both find peace, but they've got to have good people around him. I know Devin's got a great infrastructure around him and he'll be fine. But for Ryan, I think really feel like someone's got to put their arm around him at the moment.
Do you think the punishments, Eddie, need to be significant in situations like this? Because we've had fighters testing positive for banned substances and the punishments either being minimal or non-existent. I mean, Alicia Baumgardner, frankly, didn't get anything after she tested positive after her fight last year. Conor Benn was cleared by the WBC. Now we've got the Ryan situation. Like, do these punishments have to, if guys test positive, do they have to be real punishments?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, like I feel like if a fighter has unintentionally ingested, and contamination is a real thing, like, and so's cheating, by the way. Like, I'm sure there's fighters that have told me or told people they were contaminated and they actually intentionally cheated. And I'm sure there's people who have been contaminated and definitely didn't cheat, right? You've just got to use your gut feeling and your knowledge of that individual to make your own mind up. It's difficult to do. Like, it's all very well saying I've never taken it, I was contaminated. And I think that is true in some cases, but unfortunately, you've got to try and prove it. And without, the supplements or without the food or, it's very difficult to do so. So I think that now, because of the frequency of testing, sometimes you can prove that you haven't been on a cycle or if you've been tested 3 times in 2 weeks and both either side were negative and this one was, a very small trace, gives you a better argument, to be honest. But it's a difficult argument to win. And that's the difficulty Ryan Garcia has now.
What do you think about all these fighters that are requesting the testing and testing positive? You had Alicia Baumgardner, you had Erica Cruz. I mean, Ryan has said he wanted the testing.
Yeah, I mean, Erica Cruz is the latest example. I mean, I don't want a badge of honor, but we are testing so deep on these cards now. I mean, that was a show that we had in Mexico. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty small show, right? And we tested not just the main event, but also the undercard fights. Because Erica Cruz came to us and said, look, I really want testing for my fight. So we're like, okay, no problem. So we paid for testing and she tested positive. I mean, quite honestly, we wouldn't have tested for that fight if she hadn't requested it, only on the night. Right? So I don't know. I mean, I really do believe that when you see things like that, you can't help but think, was this contamination or I don't know. I mean, it's a difficult one, but you got to deal with it, and Ryan's got to deal with it now. But I wish he'd come off social media and because it makes it worse and worse and worse,
I think there are either a lot of contaminated supplements out there or people are just sociopaths. Like they just believe they can beat anything.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Chris, I think it's an easy excuse to make, Sometimes the individual, sometimes the teams, because I don't believe that Ryan Garcia, whatever happened, I don't believe Ryan Garcia woke up and said, I need to take Ostarine today to help me. Right? It would have been someone around him. Maybe someone gives him something to drink while he's trying to cut weight. Well, I had no idea. Maybe he didn't even know. And someone else did. Right? But it's very, very, not often will it be a fighter that wakes up and makes the decision to do this. It'll be a team of people around them,